president has no more excuses for delaying the approval of a pipeline to carry oil from the oil sands of Canada into the United States. Here to tell us what happens next is our editorial page editor, Paul Gigot. Paul, thanks for being here.
Thanks, James. You asked me to read the mind of the President of the United States.
Yeah, I gave you the tough question. We went through in the editorial today the facts of the case, basically his own State Department saying once again there's no great environmental threat.
Or even small
environmental threat to allowing this oil to flow south. We have the governor of Nebraska recently saying pipeline plan looks good. It's now going around
the Sandhills,
an area thought to be environmentally sensitive. So as we state in the editorial today, no more excuses for the president.
If the facts are relevant, yes, which they may not be. That's one of the points of this issue.
Already, but what are you expecting here? Now that these excuses are off the table, does he find new ones?
I don't know what the guy's going to decide, James. I really don't, and I wish I could. I know you may say that our viewers may say, "Oh, that's a cop-out, Gigot," and to some extent it is. But with this guy, you never really know. If reason prevails, right, he'll approve it. There's no reason not to. I mean, and politically even, there's not any reason not to approve it anymore. You can't have the excuse of local opposition. You don't have the excuse, big labor likes it. And you don't even, and you don't, on a factual, rational basis, have the excuse of global warming. Because if the pipeline isn't built, it isn't going to assist climate change at all. It isn't going to reduce global emissions at all.
Right.
The oil will still get even to the Gulf Coast. If it doesn't go to the Gulf Coast, it'll go to China. The oil sands will be developed.
Okay, so on all the merits, it ought to go forward. That doesn't mean it will go forward. Now, I should have learned by now to get out of the political prediction business, but I have been thinking that what would make sense for the president is to approve this pipeline, right, and then tell his green allies, don't worry, I've got the EPA, and they're going to ratchet down emissions on all kinds of other activities. So even if the oil can move, I'll make sure less of it gets used.
Did you work in some White House someday with that fine-tuning politics? No, you make a very good political argument, and I think one that you will, that's exactly, if he approves this, that's exactly what they will do. They will say, the EPA's out there, folks, and we're going to kill the coal industry, which it's already doing. And the EPA, the president's new appointee to run the EPA now, is the head of the EPA's air division, which has been leading the charge on many of these anti-coal regulations. I think so. That's going to go forward, and that part of it, and that would be an argument to help him sell Keystone to some of his environmental supporters. However, you have to remember the degree to which Keystone has become a theological argument.
Right.
This is about the sense that the world is heating up so fast that if we don't do anything about it, mankind is done. Well, I mean, that's what James Hansen of NASA really believes. That's what Bill McGibbon really believes. You can't do anything about such faith-based opponents.
Okay, I guess last thing related to that, we just had this experience of the sequester where the president essentially threatened that an apocalypse was nigh. It ended up going into effect. Life seems to go on. Is this also politically maybe not the best time for him to come out with another doomsday scenario to explain why this policy can't go forward?
That assumes that the media would draw some connections, which it won't. I mean, they can't remember what happened yesterday, much less. So I don't think that that's a risk at all. I think the real question here is, do they think that they get enough benefit from the economic growth and those union jobs?
Right.
As many as 20,000. Direct jobs, never mind
constructing the pipeline, and then of course once it's in operation, you have a lot of energy industry, transportation.
Sure, and I like to think of all the people who are going to be serving lunch and the rest of it to all those workers and the supplies and so on. So, do they get enough benefit from that? And that's important enough to essentially overwhelm the argument by the environmentalists, which is, oh my God, you've let us down, Mr. President, and we wanted you to save the earth and cool the earth, and you're not.
Right.